We were in Hershey, Pennsylvania. You know, I remember Spencer when he won that match. He comes off the match and he goes up and he's banging on the table. I told you, you know, nobody can go with me. You know, this is Spencer Lee, who's really reserved. No, I saw him wear his emotion on his sleeve. I go, he's a Hawk.
Desanto trying to get around back.
You don't believe that you can beat somebody. You train to beat them. In my head, I'm going to prepare myself to the point where I can compete.
Terry was like, we might want to take a look at this Austin Desanto guy too. You got to watch him, you know, you got to watch him. What's inside you that boils over when you don't get what you want, that's also a skill. Just got to channel it the right way. You got to work on that. Austin Desanto had to work on it.
And Desanto's got to be careful.
I'm not a social butterfly, and I'm just not. I like that it's not a team sport.
Spencer Lee was unbelievably instrumental in recruiting Austin Desanto.
Everyone was like shocked about that because they thought I would like hate him or something. And I was like, why not have him come train with me?
Spencer Lee is unbelievable.
His sophomore year in that finals match at the NCAA tournament was really nothing observable on mat, functional. One instance of a grimace.
When I told Tom's like, how'd you feel? Like, you can't. How'd he take you down? You know? And I was like, hey, hit a single leg, and I stepped and I blew my knee out. And he was like, your good knee?
It's tough to see somebody close go through that.
Wrestling for over 2 years with a torn ACL, don't think about it. Worry about your wrestling.
That's excuses. Excuses are for wusses.
It's really hard to talk about shortcomings and the errors that I've made.
That's exactly what Austin Desanto needs. He needs patience, he needs understanding, he needs caring, he needs people to lend an ear.
I think the passion that the Hawkeye fans have for their wrestling team is a healthy passion, and I think they demand excellence.
The number one ingredient for the Terry and Jesse plan is the athlete has to be tough. And the athlete has to want to do it. They gotta want to do it, and they gotta be tough. And if they're tough and they're resilient, they'll get through it. Because they're going to be pushed, and there's going to be pain, and you're going to have to overcome some things on a competitive mat.
Put this mic on you, that's all right.
All right.
Drop it down your collar.
Spencer and Desanto were scrapping. 12 minutes they went.
I would describe Austin Desanto as someone who you would want to go to war with you.
We see a lot of progress with Austin Desanto every single day, with handling emotion, with the way that he carries himself. So Spencer makes our program better because of how ferocious he is. Austin Desanto makes our program better because he's a good example as a competitor. They both make our program better because of how they live their lives. They are fanatics. They eat the right foods. They're eager to learn. They know how important wrestling recovery is. You talk to them about those things, they make adjustments. All the things that go with being the best wrestler that you can be. Spencer and Austin make us better. Tough, tenacious, winning. And when I say that, I say it about two guys that are very different in styles, but the mentality and the emotional and spiritual approach is very similar. They are going to take everything they can and they are going to give as little as possible. And they're going to beat you as bad as they possibly can. And if you beat them, you will know who they are when you're done. That's the legacy that they have continued to bring to the program.
Coach Strittmatter says there's nothing like watching Spencer Lee go live. It's unbelievable. Guy he's going with is a 3-time D2 national champion.
United States of America, Spencer Lee.
I mean, they've had eyes on me since I was like 12, dude. I would like win a stinking elementary school tournament, and I wouldn't like pin a guy, and like my dad would be like, "Oh, the forums are going crazy about you." I'm 12. You know, like it always was like that, like my whole life. When I was going to high school, I think my main goals were 4-time undefeated state champ and 4 world titles, at least. Being undefeated 4-time state champ for Pennsylvania. I wanted to be like Kerry Colott. It was like what I was kind of like a hero of mine.
When you have goals like mine, there's nothing you want to hold you back.
Like, what are your goals?
My goal is to be a 4-time undefeated state champion, state of Pennsylvania.
Spencer Lee is a 3-time world champion, and then he was a high school phenom.
Better winning close than losing.
Big job, 3 times.
And I remember being in the club and seeing this kid he was a lot smaller than me at the time, by the way. And I remember the coach telling me, Coach Morrow, saying that he was gonna be really good. And I just watched him drill, and he was kind of like a spaz, you know, just like crazy. And I remember just looking at my dad like, what the heck? Like, and that was like my first time meeting him. Junior year, I wrestled Austin Desanto in the state finals.
Spencer Lee from Franklin Regional, about 1,021 back 2.
Spencer had a lot of unique attributes that were obvious, very interesting to almost every college in America, and maybe even the success he had on the international mat. You know, he turned heads. He was the total package, and still is, just the best of the best.
I ended up beating him 15-0.
You know, I remember Spencer when he won that match, he comes off the match and he goes up and he's banging on the table. I told you, you know, nobody can go with me, or whatever he was saying. You know, this is Spencer Lee, who's really reserved. No, I saw him wear his emotion on his sleeve. I go, he's a Hawk. And then I turn to Morningstar and I go, he's our other guy. Talking about Desanto, even though he got tech fault. The way that he fought, and the way that he approached the match, and the way that he approached just the entire thing, the way that he approached the podium, it was like, that's our guy too.
Desanto. Make sure you're circling the winner. Road Warrior singlet is Desanto. What's the other guy's name? Red Tiger. And that's the end of it. Desanto with the takedown at the end. They go up 9-1. A great match. Both wrestlers wrestling tough. Desanto comes out on top.
I'm from Exeter, Pennsylvania. It's a small town. It's not a lot of wrestling. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was the first state champ there. What it was like growing up is me, my dad, and one other person, and we're just in a basement wrestling room where the pipes are above us, and at the end of the day, you're on the mat. You're out there, and you got to figure a way to impose your will on your opponent, and that's what I really like. There was a big jump for me that 9th grade year, where in that summer I worked out a lot, lifestyle and things like that, where hey, I'm not drinking soda or doing anything like that, or I'm eating clean, I'm doing the right things, I'm excited for practice. Spencer in grade school, I mean, from what I know, he won everything. I mean, there wasn't many guys that challenged him, and if they challenged him, he kicked that door down. It opened my eyes up to a different side of wrestling. I didn't know how good he was until after that match. After that, like, hey, it's another like stepping stone of how much I can get better at the sport of wrestling. I started doing my research after that match, seeing how good he is and what he accomplished. You don't believe that you can beat somebody, you train to beat them. In my head, I'm gonna prepare myself to the point where I can compete. If I didn't, and I got rolled over, it's just more room to get better. And there's always room to get better in the sport of wrestling.
Like freshman or sophomore year, I never had injuries. I was always very healthy. You know, I never had like any setbacks really. Maybe like January or maybe it was December of my senior year of high school. I remember just like being in the room and I kind of got ran over by a teammate. It was all kind of a blur to me now, to be honest, but I remember like freaking out because like, if you ever torn your ACL, it felt like almost like a gunshot in your knee. I literally crawled out of the room because I didn't know what happened. Like I didn't want to step on my leg, so I crawled out. I remember I stood up and I stomped on it a few times and nothing was wrong. And I was like, that's so weird, right? I remember I faked, like exploded to a shot, and all I remember was like I was on my face. Like I like literally like dropped, like my knee buckled, so like I fell. And I was like, what the heck? And I got back up and I shot again, fell on my face again, buckled again. And I was just like, something's wrong. Like I can't finish the practice. Like I was like, I can't even shoot. And I go to a doctor, I get an MRI, and like the person who first read the MRI tells me nothing's wrong with my knee. So I'm going, I guess I'm just like the biggest wuss out there. Like I guess I just didn't want to finish practice, you know? And then I remember the doctor after that read it was Dr. Bradley. He was like the Pittsburgh Steelers doctor at the time. He looks at me and goes, what doctor read this, said nothing was wrong? He goes, what the heck? He goes, you have a torn ACL. And I was like, what? It looks like someone cut it with like a hot knife. It's perfect cut, completely torn. And he left the room after that, and I was like so confused. And he comes back in and throws a brace at me and goes, go ahead, wrestle with it. I was like, what? He goes, you're good. He goes, tear everything in your knee. He goes, we're gonna fix it anyways. Like, I think I can do that, because my dad was telling me not to compete, you know? He was like, let's just focus on college, like it's no big deal. And I was like, well, in my head, so many years down the drain just because like we were playing it safe, you know? And I was like, that's not how I am. Like I won my first world title with a torn labrum. I won my second with 2 cracked ribs. Like no one cares. Do you care that I had injuries? Do you think my opponents cared? No one cares. Nobody cares if you're hurt. For me, it's like 20 years from now, am I gonna be saying, what if, you know? Might as well try.
The senior season was starting back in October, September even. You know, we were hearing that Desanto was going to stay down at Spencer's weight. And then as the season went on and as the collision was going to happen, you know, you start paying attention to it a little more. You knew it was going to be a good one, but at the same time, you also knew that Spencer was beat up, but you also knew that he tech faulting the year before. So that's what makes wrestling great, you know, as a fan. And
expected of myself to go out and do my job, you know. My job was to kick butt, score points, and, you know, leave no doubt.
Here's an official out of Mount Pleasant Mills in District 4.
Right from the gun, you knew it was going to be a little bit difficult.
I just remember a head nod at the end of the first, like, hey, we're doing this now. Like, recognized me a little bit, like, hey, I'm coming for you.
You know, just the way that Austin holds position, when he's ready to go, he is very, very difficult to wrestle. And you could see it. You could see him rise to the occasion. And those are the things that I've seen him as a competitor, and they remind me of that day. A match in the state finals with Spencer and Desanto, it went down to the very bitter end. And it got down to the bitter end to the point where they had to pause and talk about it at the head table. And it was a situation whether it was 2 or not.
Desanto trying to get around back. He will run out of time.
And it ended up being 2. You know, it was pretty cool. I mean, just the whole thing and the way that it fell out in favor of Austin was really, really a gutsy, cool thing for him and his family.
I think it was like expected of me. So people were like even like my high school, like they made a banner before I even went to the state tournament with like a space for the 4th position. Like even if you go in my high school room today, you'll have my name up there and there'll be 3 years and then like a 4th blank year. My buddies were really good, like Teasdale, and they would take losses and no one would say anything. And I'd lose, it'd be like the world ended, man. Crazy. If you ever watch Austin's interview after he won, when he realized I was hurt, he said, I wish I had known he was hurt because I would have went 32. Because he didn't want to wrestle me hurt. He wanted to wrestle me at 100%. He wanted to wrestle me. He told me his goal his senior year was to like not get teched by me. It wasn't like, yeah, he wanted to win, but like he was just trying to get better. I was the guy to make him better, you know?
It kind of stinks that all full healthy. I would love to wrestle him when he was full healthy, because it's an eye opener. It's a test at the end of the year. How good have I gotten? And that's what I'm about. He came up to me and, hey, what are you doing? Like, why are you going to Drexel? You need to come to Iowa. And in my head, I was probably a little immature to realize what he was really saying, and kind of just, hey, you don't need to be going there. You need to be coming to Iowa. And I didn't think he had the best interest in my head. In his head, he was probably a little bit more mature and going, hey, this guy, this is where he's gonna best grow as not just a wrestler, but as a person.
Hey, you wanna check your figures, Austin?
The white, the off-colored color goes to the outside. So like these were all made to go, so when it flies, the feather is very, it's not like this.
It's outside.
Outside.
We're at Terry Brandt's house, and we're gonna just shoot some arrows at a target. See how we do today. It's been a little bit for us, so. I've been shooting since I was 10.
What about you, Desanto?
COVID. He took me out. He took me out, and we've gone probably 10 times.
Yeah. Listen,
yeah,
there's two ways. There's two ways to shoot. Terry said both eyes open.
Yep.
Visualize where you want the arrow to go, and what I want you to do is pull your fingers, like where you're drawing, to the same spot every time. Right. Shooting a bow is literally consistency. It's like hitting a single leg. Let's do this. There you go. That felt better. When you pull it back, I want you to push your hand forward and pull back, and but I want you to have a strong stance. So you want your stance to be the same every time. Like straight forward, knees bent here, and you're gonna pull back with it, and then you're gonna fire. And grab it and pull. Yeah. Hey, the arrow sounded better. Look at that. Does that make, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but to me, like the arrow, like it flew better.
Hey, we spent hours
looking
in this. There's arrows in this, but they're too deep in the ground.
You want to go back farther?
I mean,
go ahead.
You first. You go.
You want me to shoot first?
Yeah.
He's like,
I'll see how well you do, and then
he's talking a big game.
I'll gauge.
He's talking a big game.
If you can't hit it, there's no shot.
I can't it, come on.
Well, Spencer, why don't you take the time and announce where you're gonna be wrestling?
For me, I decided to go to the University of Iowa. I'm gonna be a Hawkeye.
Spencer, when he showed up on campus, he was in the middle of rehab. There's no automatic, but I'll tell you what, the expectations of our fans for Spencer Lee started on his official visit here when he was standing on a street corner. The light's green, literally the tires screeched. He rolls his window down from the far side. Hey, Spencer Lee! Gives him one of these, something.
I was walking across the street, I had a dude pull over and honk, and just like, people here are crazy, you know? I thought that was pretty cool.
There's a reason why Iowa City is Wrestletown, USA. That's because that stuff isn't scripted. You know, we built a really, really solid relationship with him. You know, I even learned about Pokemon, so you can imagine. Spencer didn't make the easiest choice. The easiest choice would have been to stay home. Spencer Lee made the choice that was best for him. He wouldn't like the way that he felt maybe in the workouts, but he would realize that that's why he came to Iowa. You said that you were coming to Iowa because you know that we'll push you to the places that nobody else will push you to.
The biggest decision of Tom Brand's first time he's ever pulled a red shirt of a freshman, and it looks like he knew exactly what he was doing.
NCAA champion as a freshman, and I mean, you were there. You watched it. Anybody that was there and watched it unfold, it was a dominating experience.
Spencer
At the end of the period, the coach said wrestle 7 minutes hard, and I went out there, and with 10 seconds up, it didn't matter. I had to score, and I took the opportunity.
Congratulations, Spencer.
Thank you very much.
Spencer Lee does it as a true freshman, the first to do it since 1993 for the Hawkeyes.
Drexel is a really good school. It has really good academics, and my parents decided, hey, go there. And you can't have your parents decide where you're gonna go. You gotta make the decision.
Crazy thing about Austin Desanto and me noticing him was, I already mentioned the situation at the state tournament. Not that he won, but when he lost, I noticed him. And then, you know, he goes on, he wins, he goes to Drexel. And I remember I was walking, I was waiting, we were back in the tunnel area kind of there, but he was out wrestling. So he was wrestling this guy, and he's like animated. Like, and he's looking at his coaches in his corner, and his corner coaches wouldn't look at him. And they were like, and they were rolling their eyes, and they just weren't giving him good feedback. He still could have won that match. And he ended up losing it. It knocked him out of the tournament. And that's really where his distrust of humanity kind of started after talking with him and throughout the last 7 years that he's been around us. That's really kind of where it started.
My freshman year, I mean, at the end of the day, I needed something to change, and I did not compete the way I wanted to. It was a lot of room to grow and a lot of mistakes that I made.
Desanto pulls the knee, and that's going to be an unsportsmanlike as he jerks the knee.
Desanto with a big return and a spike. Holy smoke!
That match with Micic, 6 years ago now, I'm down 13-1 with a couple seconds left. I tried to score points. I didn't try to hurt him. It's just a tough situation I was put in, and you add frustration to that mix and the passion to win, and it sometimes implodes on you.
Keep your head.
This is not good. Desanto's wrestling pretty dirty right here.
It's funny to look back on it because it's a lot of immaturity, and I think he said it pretty dang well in that interview. I don't think he's gotten his butt beat that bad ever in the room, and that's very true.
Kind of feel bad. Might be something wrong with him. He tried to break my arm in the match, but he got pretty pissed. So I don't think he's been in a position where been getting his ass kicked at all. Maybe if he lost, it's been up close, but I don't know if he knows how to handle an ass beating. But you know, whatever, kid's tough, but that's not really respectable.
What's inside you that boils over when you don't get what you want, that's also a skill. Just got to channel it the right way. You got to work on that. Austin Desanto had to work on that.
I didn't leave Drexel. I was informed that I wasn't on the team anymore from my parents. And that's pretty hard for a young kid coming out of college to know that you're off a team that nobody told you that you're off a team. And your parent had to tell you that, not the head coach.
Are you thirsty? Michelle.
No, I'm really good.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, I'll take something. I am thirsty.
Takeaway from today.
Good. Fun, relaxing.
I want to finish my freaking.
I wish we get to do this more, but with practices and being tired every day. I lost one of Terry's arrows. It's not, I don't feel too good about it, but other than that, did better than I thought.
I thought you did pretty well. I think his form got a lot better.
Being at Terry's, really
he
nice.
does come into Terry's all the time. Yeah. I would sit and just play with his cats. This is like the most loving cats I've ever seen in my life. This is the cat that always cuddles with me when I come here. I freaking love you.
Spencer Lee was unbelievably instrumental in recruiting Austin Desanto.
Everyone was shocked about that because they thought I would hate him or something. And I was like, why not have him come train with me?
He comes onto campus during the World Cup weekend, and you know who his host is? And you know who his #1 friend was, and his #1 fan and supporter, and the guy that took him around campus and showed him to the fans and brought him to the World Cup, lockstep, arm in arm with Spencer Lee.
I definitely recognized that he was unique when I first wrestled him. When on his recruiting visit, there was a mat back there, in the back room, and me and him would go in at 8 p.m. at night because that's all he wanted to do was wrestle me. So he wrestled every night, twice a day, morning, night, every time we were here, and he was so relentless, you know? You just run at me, you know? I'm like, this guy's crazy. Like, man, they're gonna love you here. Like, you're so aggressive, you know? Never stop.
I don't think any team would have touched me with a 10-foot pole after that incident. And I mean, Iowa did. Gave me a home, and I probably wouldn't be at Iowa without Spencer. He went out on a limb and said, hey, this kid is good. He's a good kid. He cares about the sport of wrestling. He's good for the program. I don't know what he said to Tom and Terry to get me on the team, but Tom and Terry are the best coaches in the world, I think. I wouldn't be in the position I am without them. Without Tom, without Terry, without Spencer, and it is awesome. And I knew right when I got home, hey, this is where I'm going. Nobody can tell me otherwise.
Spencer Lee rolling into his sophomore year, he's rolling.
College season's long, I will say that. It was just hard, like, being so, like, down to weight, weekly, consistent, healthy, tough competition. Everyone's trained just to beat you every year. In the national finals against Mueller, I definitely remember the moment I tore it. He did this thing where he would, like, throw his leg behind and pull you backwards, right? Which is kind of illegal. Remember standing up, getting pulled back, and just feeling my knee pop. The whole crowd's going crazy because he has a cradle lock. They all think he's gonna turn me. I'm sprawled out. I got called for stalling, but the whole time I'm sitting there going, pretty sure I just tore my ACL.
He gets up, he's looking at the corner, and you gotta go, focus, you gotta go. You know, did what Spencer does best. He persevered through massive adversity.
Back-to-back titles for Spencer Lee.
The match ended or whatever, and I remember going off the mat, and Tom, like, slapped me. High five, was like, good match, good stuff, you know?
And congratulated him, and he pulled me in, and I thought he was gonna kind of like, we did it, or I did it, or something like, you know, I don't know.
I looked at him, I was like, tore my ACL. He's like, what? I'm like, he goes, seriously?
Hey, don't worry about it. Good job, you're tough. You're tough through it. And then ran away.
Hey, I can't run, but you're not. Let's go, baby. Yo, finish it off.
Spencer Lee, why are you the baddest man on the planet?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Hey, come here, stand still. Woo! I'm sorry if I kicked anyone. I can't help it.
Come on. What's your hand? Yes, I got it. Think about it all. Very smart. Very smart.
Yeah, I don't know about smart. Jesse, thank you.
Spencer's not the kind of guy who's gonna make a big deal out of something on the mat. After the match, he just patted me on the shoulder and said, hey, something happened to my knee. And I was like, okay. So my name's Jesse Donenworth. I'm the head men's wrestling athletic trainer here at the University of Iowa. Been doing this for 20 years total, 12 years going on 13 here at the University of Iowa. I first started working with Spencer when he was coming in, so it would have been in the summertime. He would have been enrolled and, you know, doing Hawkeye Wrestling Club. The reins, so to speak, got turned over to me and our care team, Dr. Westerman, Dr. Peterson. After the match, he just patted me on the shoulder and said, hey, something happened to my knee. And I was like, okay.
It was just kind of like, oh gosh. You know, you go from like that high of like winning a national title to being like, oh, ACL's torn. What do we do now?
That's where the conversation broadens, you know, to expert opinion, our physicians, the parents, but most importantly, it's what Spencer wants, right? What's he want to do?
I just remember like telling Tom like I don't want to have surgery because how miserable the surgery was the first time and like how long it took to get healthy, and I just tore it anyways. We would do all these tests where like I would jump on it or move and it never gave out, and never, no problems. The doctors would be like, it was almost uncanny, like you do things like it's not torn, and then it is, you know? They're like, I think you can do this without getting surgery.
Here's the thing with Austin. Austin got away with a lot, but what he was getting away with was getting in the way of his success and what he wanted. And so we started right away. Whatever antics there were, we were going to stop it and we were going to correct it. And there were 2 guys in that wrestling room that would not let him get by with it, not once. These 2 guys never fatigued. Those 2 guys were Tom and Terry Brands. And every time he would grab a shirt, every time he would grab a headgear, every time that he would do something that was illegal at a team point, we would stop. Technical violation, 1 point. Opponent. How's that feel?
Yeah, when I first got here, it was hard. It was really hard on myself where I wanted to do well. It's a different culture here. When I was here my first month, it felt like I was here for a full year. Finding out the right ways to do it, the right ways to be calm and not obsess over, oh, I got my butt beat today. No, I mean, it's obsessing over it the right way, not where I'm in my bed, oh, what could I have done better? Oh, I got my butt beat, oh, that was embarrassing.
But Austin Desanto, some of his antics and the things that he was getting away with got in the way of what he was trying to accomplish in the sport. And so you had to do it. And it was tiresome.
Tom and Terry do a really good job of keeping me in check, and it's just over time. It's not one single moment. It's multiple times they don't let it happen. It's not the right way to do it, and it's not, oh, we've given up on that guy. No, they will go to the end of the earth to make me the best person that I can be, and that they know I can be. And it doesn't matter how many times I fail, they're still there.
You can't snap your fingers and don't do this and then say, oh, okay, I don't do that anymore, it's fixed. Kid has come a long way.
$57 kilos semifinal bout. Vito Arujau in the blue, Spencer Lee in the red, and we are underway.
So the senior nationals in Dallas, 8-9 days before Christmas, and Spencer's going. Yeah, he's going. He's going, and I love it. I love it, because that's what we're on this planet for. Some really, really good guys in the semi, in the final. I mean, and he beats them bad. This sets him up to be, right in there for the trials, which will happen in the spring.
So right now, I'm kind of leading by example, wrestling my hardest. Like you said, I just won the U.S. Open, so hopefully that rubs off on some of my teammates. So we're going to war. We're storming for NCAAs, and we're going to make a run for it, like we do every year.
And there is the fall. And there's going to be the end of the match. Takedown, Spencer Lee. Tech fall 19-3 for the Iowa Hawkeye.
We just got through the Big Ten tournament. Everybody was talking at the Big Tens how the country was going to shut down and this and that. You've been hearing it for so long, rumors, and you're like, okay, well, we just got to get through. And Spencer, he's good. He's ready to go. I mean, he looks great. His workouts are solid. His mentality, like the way that he's carrying himself, there's no hiccups. Everything is going, and for our entire lineup, for most of our guys, you're feeling like, okay, well, this is the year, you thirsty Hawkeye fans, get ready, and then you get that news, the Tuesday before, they just canceled the frickin' tournament. You guys got to deal with it.
Iowa is the team that they have had such a successful season. 9 of their 10 starters ranked in the top 3 in the country this year. They've been a team that was supposed to have, just this incredibly dominant year, and now we're not going to get to see that.
So ready for the NCAA tournament, and I was so ready for the Olympic trials, and then they canceled everything. Kind of a detriment to my career, I think.
During the Corona shutdown period, I think our guys did a really, really great job of focusing on getting better.
I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it. I was trying to prepare for next week, and I had room to improve. I got 4th at Big Tens that year, so I'm like, hey, I gotta keep working. There's a lot of room to improve. There's no way they canceled this, and I just kept working. I mean, everybody's goal is to win a national title, and it's like swept under the rug. And that was the year that we were going to do it. We're gonna win a team national title, and it was swept under our feet. And it's just staying close and being a team, not even a team, a family.
And our guys were awesome through it. Our guys were awesome through it with the training and the running and the things that they needed to do to get better. And yeah, it sucked, but what are you gonna do about it? The things when you can't control them, you can't control them. So why are you gonna waste that energy on them? And Austin did a great job. He did a great job with that.
Definitely think my career would be a lot different if they didn't cancel those tournaments. Well, I would have probably been a 4-timer because I win that year, I win the next year, done. You know, maybe I don't tear my other ACL. Maybe I make the Olympic team. Maybe I win the Olympics. You know, instead I'm sitting at home watching everybody, you know. It was like the worst year ever.
When Spencer is focused and he comes in ready to go and he wants to be there and he's motivated, he's gonna be fine. He knows it, we know it, and everybody in his camp, in our camp, knows it.
And with the takedown again, and Desanto motions towards the Nebraska bench after the tech fall. And Desanto's got to be careful, taunting the Nebraska fans and the Nebraska bench.
Maybe sometimes I let people provoke me too much. And it's just early on, just letting people provoke me and not being around that environment that much. And it worked.
If you don't know Austin Desanto, you could say that he is misunderstood.
I might take things a little bit too personally, but I know when I'm off the mat, it's water for ducks back.
He needs patience, he needs understanding, he needs caring, he needs people to lend an ear. As a person as a whole, he's just a really, really great person at heart. He's the best. He just has to, you know, become a little bit more independent here. And, you know, a little bit stiff arm there, a little bit more lovey-dovey here.
Early on in Iowa, I wanted to shove up everybody's butt and just compete as hard as I can. And I still do, but in more of a stone cold way where I'm not showing any emotion and keeping it in check. There's right ways and wrong ways to do it, and maybe I took it over the edge a little bit sometimes.
So unsportsmanlike, we're going to hear 1 point deducted from the Iowa team.
I've said in interviews before that I work with a sports psych, and it's probably the best thing that I've done. It's really good for the mental aspect of the sport and keeping controlled and being competitive in the ways that don't give up my edge.
Austin's growth since he's been here, since the first day he stepped on campus, has been great. Does he still have his issues? Yeah, but he's all in on the team. He's all in on his teammates. He's respectful of the people in the university, and he's growing with relationships with his family. And when he spirals, he doesn't take everybody down with him anymore. He's not selfish.
It's really hard to talk about shortcomings and the errors that I've made. I'm sitting here right now with a clear mind that, hey, that was pretty stupid of me to do that. Or, hey, I made a mistake there. And the mistakes that I make are in the public eye of thousands and thousands of fans and haters and everything. And it's really good, and I'm blessed that it is in the public eye, because I wouldn't be as good of a person as I am. We got an hour and a half. There's a lot of outside factors going on here. So you guys got to really focus even extra. I mean, there's a straight correlation of doing really good in school and being a good student and being a good person to being good at wrestling. And that's something that I've learned when I'm getting older, and that's important. I'm a good person, I'm doing the right things, it's going to correlate to being a good wrestler. And doing the work in here is really important, but doing the work on your own is even more important. So, we got to get a good one like always. Up and jogging, guys. Hey, Pleasure, keep it jogging. Keep it going, stud. Hey, start picking up your jog. Tonight, Iowa City Wrestling Club practice. It's both club, but I'm an assistant coach and I'm here helping out. Hey, you can't give up this go behind. Hey, you cannot give up this go behind. Hey, up. It's not, I gotta take it down. It's up right away. Hey, do you think you guys can break somebody from the bottom position to where they don't want to just wrestle anymore? What do you have to do, you think? Say 1, 2. Hustle out, get set. Hey, big lift again. Time. Good. Hey, you gotta get outside of him or drop down to a leg and you gotta drive through him. All right, really good.
Austin Desanto, from day one until now, like completely different. I wouldn't have hired him. Like if Desanto, like I had to get to know him, and we had to like, so when he came in for the first time in the room, he was wearing this red shirt. I tell the story a lot. Like he was wearing it under his Iowa wrestling shirt, this red shirt, and I was like, why are you wearing that? And the first thing he told me was, I'll break your arm. The normal person wouldn't really know what to say at that time, like, cause you're like, oh, okay, like, but then I was just like, no, man, like, I just want to know, like, what's up, you know? People have rituals and they get superstitious, and maybe Desanto got a little superstitious with that red shirt, and Terry Brands helped him free his mind with that, and he's like, the red shirt's not going to make you a national champ. He's like, your work is going to make you a national champ.
I get to watch kids, like, grow. I get to be a part of that. And it's hard to realize the first couple times you're in here, but the more I do it, I'm like, oh, I'm actually impacting on these kids, and in a positive way. And stuff I say actually affects them. When I reflect when I was younger, what an older guy said to me, like a Bubba Jenkins. I went to one of his, like a clinic, and I remember that clearly as day, like right now. Just any of their advice, my eyes were going wide open. Hey, put yourself in the fire, right? Hey, change your face. You're good. Hey, this is where you get tough. Gotta get one more, but you gotta drive through it and end up on top. Just end up on top. It's looking better than it was before. Get your feet. A lot of you guys are going down to your belly. A lot of you guys are letting him kinda get more an advantage than he needs to. All right, make it a little bit realistic. Like, I don't ever wanna be on my belly, even when I'm drilling, all right? Bad habits occur when you're drilling. They don't realize it, but they're helping me grow. I mean, I preach to these kids every single day that, hey, you gotta thank your parents. Hey, you gotta be a good person on and off the mat. Those are things Tom and Terry preached to me, but now I get to preach to them. I have to believe it 100%. If I don't believe it 100% that being a good person translates to being a good wrestler, then I'm lying to these kids' face. Hey, you gotta clean your room. You gotta be doing the dishes. Hey, you can't argue with your parents. I mean, I can't be doing that stuff. Being a bad person, showing it. Hey, I lash out on somebody in a wrestling match. I don't want these guys to see that.
Like, he's gonna get mad and hit himself or whatever. But Austin Desanto is a very strong person, and he has capabilities of doing like some great harm to his opponent. So imagine what he could do to himself. For him, that's probably why he's really good, because he's really hard on himself. But let's be smart about it. Let's not hurt ourselves or mentally be in a hole where we just shut down. Let's work through it.
Hustle in! You got push-ups. Who's gonna be the first one down?
I would describe him as a champion to me because he's overcome a lot, like just a lot. Like, he's dealt with a lot, maybe his upbringing, and then going to Iowa, the way he's dealt with transitions and being independent and all that kind of stuff. It takes a real true champion to do all those things, and he's done it.
Then he goes. Hey, drive. You guys are really wiry in the beginning, maybe in the middle too. There's a lot of outside factors going on. There's a camera. I mean, have you guys, littler guys, have you ever had like a camera in your face when you're ever working out? No. Something new. Yeah?
Well, good. Puts even me on edge, and I've been in front of the camera a lot, as in competing for the Hawkeyes. All right? And I think you guys did a really, really good job. You worked out hard. It's hard to stay focused with those outside factors. We got to really, really pride ourselves on being mentally strong and tough. And Bull said in the beginning of practice, he wants Iowa City Wrestling Club to be known for, hey, this guy wrestles really freaking hard. He wrestles really, really hard. And they're going to remember you from age 5 all the way up till they're 70, till they're 90. They're on the rocking chair. You think the guys that Tom Brands has wrestled, they're on their hospital bed. They're going to know who Tom Brands is from just his pace, from when they shook hands. All right, and I'm being dead serious when I say that. And that's something that you guys can do at a young age, inflict that on people, inflict that fear.
Champs on 3. 1, 2, 3, champs!
Good job. Hey, you got to put yourself in the fire every day. Without me reminding you, without me reminding you.
Can I get your autograph?
I think you got my autograph before, right? No? Yeah, you can get it again. Suds. Yeah, you got to get a headgear. Or I'm going to give you one. Somehow. I don't know, like super small headgear. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so for like the season after the COVID year where they canceled, was the shortened season was super unique because we only had, I think, a Big Ten schedule, and then it was like nationals. Like it was very, very, I think I only had 12 or maybe it was 14 matches.
I don't remember how many matches we wrestled, but we had the best team that year as well.
During COVID, you don't get to really test like, hey, am I ready? Am I good enough? Am I ready? Is my condition in there? Those are kind of the mental swings, and I had a lot of time to work on the mental aspects of the sport during that year. It was just keeping consistent and keep on training and believing that you're going to be the best version of yourself.
I think wrestling for over 2 years with a torn ACL definitely taught me how to wrestle with a torn ACL. Like there are definitely like things that you can't do. There are positions you cannot put yourself in. Like we would practice those positions in practice, like preventing those positions from coming to fruition, you know? I definitely had a lot of learning to do with it, and it was kind of interesting. You know, you change your style. I think you improve yourself in different ways. I think it's a good thing too, you know? Had to be smarter with your defense, you know? Couldn't have your knee go straight in a split or something, you know? Had to be very smart with that kind of stuff.
He wrestled in the state tournament without an ACL. He chose not to do corrective surgery after the Mueller match. Wrestled a full season, won the US Open. And for everybody at home, he just went like that. But these guys aren't normal.
125 pounds, it is a rematch of the Big Ten final from last March in Piscataway. The top seed, Spencer Lee of Iowa, and Devin Schroeder, the senior for Purdue. And Jim, he's been phenomenal in this tournament. He's beaten both the 2 and 3 seeds.
We go to the Big Tens, State College, Pennsylvania.
So in 2021, I wrestled Devin Schroeder in the Big Ten finals. Like I said, I wrestled him like I think 7 or 8 times in college. He's always been game. He's always been a tough, scrambly wrestler. He's good on top. He's a tilt guy. You know, he rolls a lot. He's tough, you know.
The story has always been a quick start. His urgency is in all caps. He's relentless.
I remember in the match, I clubbed him real hard, and he kind of shot, and like he didn't shoot against me very much in any other matches. He was always kind of trying to pull on me, you know, a little bit. And he kind of took me off guard, and he hit me in like a single leg, and I stepped my leg back to step into him. I reacted, right? Boom, and all of a sudden I felt my knee just pop. And he hard finished on me.
He's able to get to the far ankle and drive through and get a takedown.
Devin Schroeder.
And I remember it was weird. All of a sudden I had a bloody nose for some reason. I don't remember getting hit or anything, and going to get my nose unplugged, and I'm trying to tell Terry hey, I tore my ACL. And he was like, wake up! You know, he grabbed me, he shook me, and I'm like, okay, you know, and I totally forgot to tell him I tore my ACL, so I had to go out there and wrestle. And I remember stomping, going, all right, I think I'm okay. You know, I've done this before.
It looks like a football score, but it is a tech fall for Spencer Lee, 21-3, and the Hawkeye claims his second Big Ten title.
When I told Tom was like, how'd you feel? Like, you can't get, how'd he take you down, you know? And I was like, hey, hit a single leg, and I stepped, and I blew my knee out. And he's like, you're good, knee? It's like, yeah. So, you know, then I'm going to go get interviewed, and I'm all mad. You can see me say to Bobby Telford that, hey, I tore my ACL. And he looked at me and he goes, hey, none of that. Like, you don't say that. Like, because you want people seeing me say that, right? Because I was just like, I tore my ACL. Like, I literally was just like that, you know? Because Telford, like, slapped my hand. I literally see me go, I tore my ACL.
Even more dominance. You've outscored your opponents 82-7. What has been the key to your success here in 2021?
Just belief, you know? I mean, I gave up the first takedown. It was the first time I think I've ever given up the first takedown. And maybe 100 matches or something. I mean, I won, so happy about it, I guess. Got a lot of work to do.
First thing I thought of when I tore my ACL was literally like, okay, like, let's go win a national title anyways. Like, I remember Tom going, well, what do you want to do? And I go, wrestle?
Spencer Lee's a little bit unique. It ain't about getting on the stand. It's about a team title. In order to win that team title, they're going to need me. That's his words, too.
125, Spencer Lee trying to become a 3-time NCAA champion here, taking on Killian Cardinal of
Score to score from the bottom, tough ride, guy on top, coming off the bottom. You get on top, go hard, hand fight, execute 3-4 shots, we're ready. He struggled a little bit in that first or second round.
You can always have some questions for your shape or whatnot, but like at the same time, all that matters is you get tougher, 7-minute match, and you go out and you win, and no matter the situation, that was all it was. Even if you aren't in shape, who cares? Go out there and win anyways, right?
Iowa 2 for 2 early on in the quarterfinal round as they try to cement their spot.
Austin Desanto, who has gone tech pin major in his way here to the semis. Short time, third period. Desanto needs a shot here against Fix.
He just wasn't able to get past that defense of Dayton Fix and tremendous competitors there.
2021 National Championship. It's going to take a lot of courage for you to win these matches. And he knew it. He ate that for breakfast.
From Iowa, Spencer Lee!
So what I remember about the finals match with Brandon Courtney was probably like how hard it was to like get my hands on him. It was just a lot of like me just kind of walking at him, you know.
You're trying to wrestle to Spencer's lack of whatever it was that everybody thought was wrong with it. A lot of motion, a lot of this, a lot of that, and Spencer was stellar. He very rarely, if ever, came up out of his stance.
I was afraid like if I like exploded and all of a sudden the knee gave out and he'd blast him on the ground, you know. I was like, I can't let that happen, no weakness.
And Spencer Lee is Iowa's 7th 3-time national champ.
8 days ago I tore my ACL in my other knee. I'm wrestling with no ACLs, and you know, whatever, man. I didn't want to tell anyone because F excuses. Excuses are for wusses. And you know what? That was a tough turn for me. I could barely wrestle. I could barely shoot. I can't sprawl. But you know what? I believed in my coaching staff and everyone that believed in me. And here I am. So there you guys go.
Spencer was on a high when he won his title, team title to go with it. Awesome. The Hawks had had a drought for a long time. It was important to a lot of people. I remember saying that.
It was a big team title, and I think we would have won the year before as well. We had a really good team. We were firing all cylinders. Like I said, we all looked really good. We had a couple Big Ten champions, so you know we had to go out and win the next year anyways, right? There are no excuses. You know, that's our motto. Go out there get the next one, right?
It meant a lot, and it's kind of like, hey, we came together as a team and our efforts.
You have Spencer Lee in a team title, and an individual title and team title, and then on the other side you have Austin Desanto. You remember what place he got? He got 3rd place. He had to come back tough.
3rd place, 133, Austin Desanto, Iowa. Desanto puts up double-digit points twice today. Sign of a leader right there for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
I did fail my job, but we need other guys in the finals. We need other guys competing and winning, and I didn't even do that, so it's tough.
The antics came when the tournament was all over. So he was really, really unloaded and loose, and whatever went into his brain came out his mouth. So Austin Desanto in that tournament 2021 Corona, he had an incident Whoever picked Austin up for the media triggered something, and he was very disrespectful.
It's just, hey, I made a mistake. Said, hey, this girl, hey, you gotta go get interviewed. I don't like to get interviewed. So I told her, hey, I don't want to get interviewed, in probably a way meaner way than that. And it's something that I let slip up.
You know, he came unglued and said some inappropriate things, and I didn't understand it. I'm like, we're way past this, and that don't fly. There's no excuse. There's no two ways around. We don't do that, and that was a huge learning moment. That was hard because, you know he's better than that, and she would not accept his apology, unfortunately.
It hurts. It hurts. It's a lot of just hurting and growing and maturing and keeping getting better.
Divine influence, that's what I'm going to say. That's what I attribute it to. Because they wanted his head on a stick. And here's what's going to happen. Here's the penalty, all right? You're not going to be allowed to show up for the individual awards, but you can show up for the team awards. And it killed him. And that may have been probably one of the more pivotal moments in his life.
I mean, I'm a hothead a little bit, and just let the emotions get the best of me sometimes, and that's just immaturity. And I would like to think I'm getting more mature every single day, and it's just something you keep working on. There's no antics like that I look back on, I don't shake my head on. It's not what I want to convey out there. I want to convey imposing wrestling where I let my wrestling talk.
As someone who is super close to Austin, I got to see him like kind of grow as a person, just constantly improve in like almost every aspect of life.
Yeah, I can feel really good about the things that I've accomplished off the mat and on the mat. I mean, I've grown a lot as a person being here.
This relationship isn't over. And even if they were both done with their wrestling careers, they're going to be friends for life.
I mean, Austin is the ultimate competitor. He wants to wrestle the best. He wants to beat the best. If he thinks you're a guy that's an animal, he's going to respect you and he's going to want to take your head off. And that's just how he is.
He's a selfless individual, selfless, and that might be why he's so good. I don't think I've ever heard somebody go through that many injuries and still freaking go out there and smash dudes up.
If you can learn one thing about Austin and Spencer, is that no matter what went down, no matter what happened, no matter what the situation is, even when they're tussling in practice, and even when Austin's calling him out because Spencer's being passive, and even Spencer's saying, yeah, well, I just scored more points on you than you did on me, so I can be passive, you can keep talking. And they do this to each other. Even though they do that, the one thing that you could learn from those two guys is how to have somebody's back.
The story's still being written. This is for me, my career just started, so trying to get the freestyle, you know?
It's never about the material wealth for Spencer Lee. I'll do whatever you tell me to do, Coach. Austin Desanto is a loyal friend, a loyal teammate. He is a great competitor. He's a good mentor, and he's getting better. We're going to keep working on all of the above. And when Spencer got beat last year, when I walked into Spencer Lee's hotel room when I got back from the Tulsa arena, Spencer Lee was sobbing. Austin Desanto was sitting on the bed with him. He has his back. Learn that. Cut. Boom.